All right, folks. So normally I'd add the flags. Normally I'd do the intro. But before we do, I need to talk about this build order because this is a build I first saw in Silver League from a player named Stark. Oh, and I also said I was casting with Ornlu. Crap. I gotta call Ornlu. Crap. I forgot Ornlu. Oh, shoot. I'm calling Ornlu right now.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ornlu, I'm so sorry. I got so excited about this build. I apologize. If you don't...
Okay. You know, sitting here, crying in the corner, all by my a single rain cloud above my head.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to get right into it here because this is a very specific build. Repard has gone for Aztecs. Now, in a regicide start, you have 0 gold in the bank, which means you cannot loom. And there is water in the middle on this map, which sometimes players are going to dock. So Repard has got instant barracks. He's adding militia, and he knows those villagers are there. This is fully designed to take the middle and punish this on what is normally kind of a fast castle map. So yeah, we'll see. I think we're about to find out if Barles is expecting this, and the militia are on the way for Repard. But I like the build because Repard is going to need some wins this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Repard did very well in Gold League last season, but at least the trend that I've noticed is that you have these players that can do really well in Gold League, but are really going to struggle once they make it up to Platinum. And I think Repard on paper is one of those players, but I mean, of course, the thing with having all of these different maps in the tournament is that if you are well practiced with your builds like this, then you can certainly find some success. And like you, I really like this build.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like is he didn't attack the vills. Like, where's he going? Like, is it because the tower has crazy range or what? I think he could still run around. Those villagers have no loom.
Maybe he's expecting the lumber camp to not be walled, but that feels like kind of like why would it not be walled?
Yeah,
like Barles is a good player. That's going to happen, and it's much more difficult to wall in all of those box turtles. So it looks like the militia are going back there, but certainly a little bit of a lost opportunity.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I agree with your point. Ideally, I remember the schedule for the day, we could have talked more about it, but Repard is in full-on send it mode. He was not expected to make it to Platinum when he got promoted from Gold in an impressive fashion, and he knows it. Everybody knows it. So that's what this is. He's on the way to Feudal Age, which is kind of uncommon again on the map because a lot of people would see this as Fast Castle, and he's currently bashing down the dock, which I feel like isn't the play. I feel like Barles could just repair it.
I mean, unless I'm crazy, I mean, this is my first time actually seeing Tulo in TTL this season. Why couldn't he just, like, walk around? I mean, it's kind of tough for the vills to wall themselves in, no?
I agree. So the tower has a lot of range. The tower has 13 range, so I'm trying to math it out. But I don't think 13 range stops Repard from running around and just attacking the Loomless vills. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that should be the play, I think.
Because you didn't even force Loom out of Barles. You remember, you guys, you start with 0 gold because this is regicide settings, like T90 said. But, I mean, you didn't even force your opponent to get gold before clicking up. And right now, it feels like Barles is kind of having his cake and eating it, too. He's got that nice early income, and he is going to be up to the Feudal Age at the same time, of course, thanks in part to the power of that Malay age-up bonus.
Barles is probably like, what on earth is this guy doing right now? Like, this is crazy. And Barles is going to make a demo. Yo, Repard, you got to get out of here, pal. You got to get out of here. Yeah.
He still doesn't even have Loom. He just doesn't care, man. He just is going to keep queuing up vills. Not a single worry here. We have the Men-at-Arm upgrade incoming, but this is a huge investment here from Repard, and he's got to do something with it. The vills are going to be retreating back to the safety of the circle base, but it still feels pretty tough here for Repard to make something happen.
So again, I saw this exact build, the exact thing, and what happened in those games was Stark went and he drushed and Vill rushed the woodline. So that, I think Repard saw all of that. There's that information in his head, and it worked because it wasn't walled. But Barles knew it, Barles walled it, and Barles has shown a lot of confidence. He had no loom the entire time, and I think maybe a mental block for Repard to never go for those vills. Now he might not want to because the dock is up, but he goes for the archer range. Behind this, I remember the kings are out. The king's still just chilling out there in the open for Repard. It's probably fine, but you pretty much pick Aztecs for this opening, Ornlu. Otherwise, he could have gone Bohemians. So the fact that the opening hasn't done anything yet is a little concerning.
Yeah, and like that was actually something I was noticing with the draft. Is like, we're seeing the civs getting picked, and like, okay, this seems pretty cut and dry. You just pick your first 3 civs. The 3 maps in this particular pool are quite different from one another.
Yeah.
Then Repard just went and picked that last Aztecs pick, who in general are going to be a much weaker close map civ than Bohemians. Not that Aztecs are bad, it's just like every civ is a worse close map civ than Bohemians. So yeah, I mean, this is something special, clearly planned, and it hasn't been ineffective, but I would say not effective enough.
Yeah. Well, he got arson, so his idea is to just break down these buildings. He'll build the tower, but there's a counter tower from Barles. A detail on the map for those that haven't seen it. The stone is all on the outside, and you have to chop your way through. And those trees have 200 wood. So it's basically like having 4 layers of trees in terms of how long it takes. So Barles now can't build a second town center easily when he makes it to the next age. There is a dock from Repard, so he could go for a fire or something and pressure the fish. The fish are normally not a huge focus on this map, but can be. And another detail I'm noticing is that I think Repard, through all the chaos, lost a villager to... Wait. What happened? Barles lost in eco to a...
Yeah.
Did they both?
I noticed that.
Did they both lose a villager to a boar?
Barles, I think, lost the vill to Repard, and Repard lost the vill to a boar.
That's okay. All right. So, yeah, the math was not adding up there. But it does make sense. We barely had time to talk about anything, and these guys are actually playing the game. So it does make sense that some craziness could have happened.
Well, the fishing ship, one of the fishing ships went down. That was the lost unit for Barles, and I think Repard just lost a vill to a boar.
Yeah, and also another villager's going to go down. Oh, man, Barles got some crazy value from that scout. Scout's still alive as well.
Lancer scout, man. It's like throwing its sword there at the last second.
Well, Barles is an interesting player. I feel like we've talked a lot about Repard, but Barles, I think, has the talent to go deep into the playoffs here. You look at the group, and there's some other big names. There's really just 4 big names, you'd say. But I think he's got what it takes to maybe get into that top 3 and maybe get into playoffs. He's been in really good shape. So important for him and basically anyone who plays against Repard and Lakes to get the wins while they can against the promoted players.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tough group. I mean, you have Leary, MBL, and Tato, and I think Barles all sort of jostling there for the top spots. Feels like Leary's pretty close to, guaranteed to go through. I think MBL, Tato, Barles is maybe a lot closer between the 3 of them than maybe some people expect. And, depending on how prepared Barles is, he's a little bit inconsistent at times, but, if Barles is on, he can certainly take it against anybody.
Oh, man, just some of these tiny details for Repard. You've seen the aggression, but just the tiny details, like the 2 villagers on the dock could have maybe killed. There, I think it's worth the risk to maybe snipe 1 villager building the town center, but he's going to need to get to Castle Age, and I think he might continue the aggression because he just saw the second town centers up from Barles. He didn't kill a lot of eco this game, and Barles is Malay, so almost a guaranteed villager lead with the Malay anytime it's a fast castle.
Yeah, and that's just the thing when going up against a civ as powerful as Malay. It's just the base power of their eco is so high that a game where not a whole lot happens is going to favor Malay. Just because they're going to charge so far ahead in economy, it's going to be tough to come back. And it's not like Barles is sticking on the 1 TC either. He secured those extra resources out on the side, so that's going to be really nice. It also sort of fends off an angle in which his opponent could attack him, which I like as well. And right now, it's just Barles is comfy, man.
Yep,
he's
very
like in
comfy.
pajamas.
Yeah, he's in PJs right now, and it's just the confidence you have when you see the group and you have had such a long career. Everyone here has played against Repard and ranked and whatnot. They know he can be really dangerous and really aggressive, but I think everyone was also kind of surprised. It was just like, really? Repard made it? And it was a crazy run, don't get me wrong, but the part of the issue for players outside of the top 15, let's say, is just the consistency. And for Repard to be consistent enough to deliver when you have MBL, Leary, Barles, and Tato in the group, it was tough the first round. It's going to be tough here, but there is something I like about this guy, and he understands the state of the game, and he plays to it. Some people would just boom now, and they'd always get out boomed. He's going to go for a crazy all-in push against that town center.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the correct play here, and it, as you're saying, it takes a fair amount of recognition. Unfortunately, he didn't have a blacksmith, so you can't build a siege workshop yet, so that's a little awkward.
Yeah.
But there are too many times I've seen players who are platinum level players, and I know you've seen this as well, where they literally just do the same thing as their opponent but worse when they're behind.
Yep.
And it's like, this isn't going to ever win you the game, so at least go for the play that's going to give you an out, possibly. I mean, yes, Barles is, has a huge percentage chance to win the game, but it's not guaranteed yet. And Repard's job right now is trying to find that, slim opportunity that he can really make something happen.
The main thing you would do, as the Siege Workshop goes up very aggressively and Barles can see it, the main thing you would do in a normal game against someone when they're pushing you is you go to stone super early and plan around guard tower and or a castle, but he just got to stone. So he actually just bought some, and he's building a university. So his plan is to get on the stone in the back now and build some guard towers. But, wow, that's crazy, though, from Barles. He preemptively bought the stone, building the university. Really nice timings right after seeing the siege.
Yeah, and I think that if you're Barles, you can sort of look at it in the lens of, okay, how could I lose the game at this point? And especially against a very powerful aggressive civ like Aztecs, Monk Siege Push could certainly be one of those ways. Also, Barles is one of those players that's like contractually obligated to get card tower every game. So, I mean, that makes sense as well. But yeah, here's the fast imp fault behind it, which I absolutely love.
That's crazy, dude. Imp? Like, 33 villager imp? It is regicide, so right now, Barles is investing into fletching. He's investing into guard tower. He's expecting a big push to come. In actuality, all Repard is going to do is save up for a castle, drop a forward castle, maybe where that tower is, and try and treb push Barles. This is one of the faster imps you'll ever see. This is crazy.
Yeah, it was so fast. Wow.
He's got
literally
one monk,
infinitely fast.
one monk, one archer, and 2 man-at-arms. And he's going imp with no blacksmith upgrades and 1 eco upgrade.
Yeah. Or, none of that could happen, and none of it could matter because DE likes to randomly speed up, and the game is over.
I see. We have the another bleeped GG here, and yeah, it didn't spoil on my end. He just calls it. Wow, he just calls it. I mean, he was so far behind. He lost a villager to the scout in the back. I mean, he had no army, right? Like, I think he wanted a castle forward. I honestly am disappointed. I would have liked to see him still try that. Like, at least play on and like, drop the castle. You're probably dead, but, like, do something. But, yeah, Barles was just way ahead. It comes back to the start for me. Repard picked the Aztecs for the early opening. He didn't even push Barles off the fish. He didn't kill those 2 vills. He didn't kill the fishing ships, and he couldn't get to the wood line.
I wasn't sure. Is he maybe not confident in his early unit control against Barles? I mean, Barles is very good with the early villager and militia fighting. Of course, he is one of the best Black Forest players. But even so, if you're picking Aztecs, this is the sort of thing that you have to imagine is going to happen, and you have to just go for it. And unfortunately for Repard, a little indecisive, and that cost him.
I think it's such a niche situation, and everyone who gets here has played thousands of games and encountered these situations dozens of times at least, right? Most of these players have probably never played more than 10 games on Toulouse. This build is because he saw it work before, and when it worked before, it was because it was man-at-arms. It was the drush onto the wood line into the follow-up of archers. So I think the information that he had, what he saw work, was about the wood line and not the fish, and so he couldn't have the critical thinking in the moment to realize no loom. That's the only explanation I've got. Yep. Well, here we are. We got Northern Isles. This was Repard's home map. Obviously, game number 1. He had a strategy to send it. Barles was able to get the walls up, played very patient, and survived. I think you can be patient to an extent because you're the better player, but Armenians are dangerous on water maps or in Lu. So in terms of civ strength, the longer the game goes, I definitely prefer Repard's situation.
Yeah, it is interesting because in a pure galley rush, Armenians or Vikings, in my opinion, are probably the 2 top civs. So if you wanted to play that very aquatic style, shall we say, it's going to be, I would say, even a little bit of a downside here for Japanese with the galleys. That said, if you want to go for early pressure, Japanese are like the best hybrid pressure on land and water, and you have the sick fishing ships behind it. So I think that if Barles can still sort of take the game in the direction he wants, and he can go aggressive if he wants to. He can go for like a bunch of fishing ships in the back if he wants to, whereas Armenians are still going to be happiest just going for a pure galley rush.
Yeah, and this map is designed to do exactly what you just said about the Japanese. You've got the crossings in the north and the south. You also start with the transport ship, so both of those things give you avenues to mix in some land pressure. What I would like to see from Repard is recognize that's what the Japanese are always going to do, right? Like, Japanese are always going to go man-at-arms. There's no doubt about it. So don't try and play too heavy on water and receive that pressure on land with no resistance. I think the Armenians can pretty much match the Japanese if they can get to longsword. They're the only civ that can go longsword and feudal. So I would want infantry opening from both and then adapt from there.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a bit trickier, though, for Armenians, just because you don't generally have as much food on a water map. I know it sounds paradoxical, guys, that on the map with fish, you don't have as much food, but the way it works out is you spend more villager time investing into wood early on, so that then you can add in the fishing ships, and it's a little bit more delayed, which actually makes going for fish plus men-at-arms a little bit of a trickier opening if you don't have, like, a very direct civ bonus for it.
Yeah, I think if you backdock, you should have a little bit of time. And actually, something Barles could do, because Armenians have the better galleys, and Armenians are going to want the time to get the food. Something Barles could do is maybe go forward dock here. Some people will bring a villager in a transport ship, build a dock directly on the other side next to their dock to pressure their fish, and then go man-at-arms. That's hard to do, especially when you scout with the transport and you have to get home, but just spitballing here, I think that would be maybe the best way to play against the Armenians.
I think it's a really interesting idea. I don't know if you get the fish out fast enough, though, if you do that, right? Because it delays your dock.
No, I mean like
I
in early feudal, maybe you could pick up the villager now, but the transport's actually still so valuable because it skips so much walking time for the man-at-arms. So I think we'll probably need to see those transports in use for the units if there are any.
Yeah, it would definitely make the most sense, but as we see, guys, it is a back dock from both players, so as is always the case when casting, they just do always what you say they're not going to do.
Yeah. We could also see, if you really lack confidence in the meta, if you're Repard, you could go fast castle with back fishing ships and try and go for warrior priests, to be honest, and transport a church as well and drop it on Barles' face. Like, that could be really strong here.
Yeah, nerfs aren't in yet, guys, so we are still at the fully operational fortified churches and warrior monks, so it could be an option for sure, especially if, like you're saying, you're just not as comfortable in a pure macro game.
I've been crazy busy with TTL, and I tried to do what overview I could of the upcoming civs, but did they publicly discuss what they're going to do nerf-wise for the fortified church, or is that still private?
It's in the game, so
So it's in the beta for the upcoming patch. Yeah,
I can show, or we can show, obviously.
Okay, can you remind me what the changes are then, and the viewers as well?
Yeah, so what's going to happen, guys, is that the warrior priests are now going to be more expensive on the food cost. They're going to go from 30 food to 40 food, so that's a 33% increase on a resource that's hard to come by in early Castle Age. And the fortified church extra arrows are not doing bonus damage to buildings anymore, and fortified churches are losing base range, but are affected by fletching upgrades, which is more range in the late game, but means that in the early game for those early rushes, it's not as good.
Okay, nice changes. I like that.
Yeah.
All those, I mean, it's a triple nerf. So I think the devs realized how ridiculous the church rushing situation was. I think you could argue it's still very strong, but they don't want to nerf it to the ground, which does make sense. Scout for Repard looking around right now, and he's doing the right things. I know he's the underdog. I know he's 0-4 right now, but he sees the barracks. He's confirming it will be man-at-arms from his opponent, and he's going for 2 docks on the back, which tells me he will go for galleys. He will need some resistance to this rush, though. Barles is going to load up with a villager and with 3 militia and move across the water here.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you know it's coming. Okay, defensive tower immediately here for Repard. The good news for him is that his gold and his wood are at least relatively close to each other, but I'm still thinking we're going to need to see some palisade walls at the very least, just to keep your villagers safe. You don't want men-at-arms camping underneath your tower or anything like that, and you just need to buy yourself some time. You have the extra nice double bit axe as Armenians. You just Exactly. You want time to build up those galley numbers.
Yeah, but he sees it. The his own transport ship is there. He sees that Barles is there. And Barles, I don't think, knows which wood line Repard is on right now. So he's going the other way. There's nothing over there right now. He could long-term maybe deny the berries, but there's still goats, there's still fish. So far so good for Repard. Still a lot of time for Barles. He's on the back making fire galleys with his fishing ships. He's got 5. And he's going to do the right thing. And if you can't kill villagers, you might as well just take down the house here.
Yeah, because property values aren't high enough these days. Yeah, you just gotta limit that housing space even more. No, but I actually like that there's even more fishing ships behind this. You know that your opponent doesn't have anything that's pressuring you immediately, so you just get that little bit of extra time to get a little bit more of a fishing eco for Japanese.
Yeah, the more galleys you make, the longer you are from having any type of defense here. But Repard still understands that he's got the tower, which is mostly protecting the wood line, mostly protecting the gold. I think this is the right time now. Obviously have to save those vills. Those vills are definitely further than they want to be from safety, but the barracks means the range will come up eventually. And the galleys now, oh man, the multitasking. The galleys patrolled forward right into a fire, and Repard notices a little late. The fire is going to chase that down. That's super weak right now. And the vills. And the vills go down.
Oh dear. Well, this is clearly just a multitasking issue, or not an issue, it's just Barles doing a better job of it, and that is quite painful. Even the gold mining upgrade coming in for Barles before clicking up to Castle Age, interestingly, still adding in even more fishing ships and fire ships. There's just all of these granular advantages that Barles is continuing to get as he's just making his opponent uncomfortable.
Well, we talk about it all the time, galleys versus fire galleys. If it's just water, galleys always dominate. It's not really even close. But when you combine the land pressure, the multitasking element's ridiculous, and it's so easy for Barles because he just patrols, almost like patrolling a random knight on land, and then Barles is got to mass up his range units. So I think, or Repard does. So Repard still can kill the fish, but for now, Barles is still harassing enough on land where that'll be difficult for him to focus on. Man-at-Arms attacking the house. They'll take that one down pretty quickly. And Repard still needs to move forward with his galleys, still needs to get some skirmishers or archers out at home. But there he moves on water.
There's a lot that he needs to do right now. He's, I think, trying to save at least some resources for Castle Age, but the eco balance isn't great because of all the vills on gold. It just does not help you in the short run, and because Barles' own eco has been completely untouched, he can just cruise his way up to Castle Age right now, and there really is no major downside to the position here of Barles.
It's just so good, right? Like, it's just so good. Also, look at this detail. Barles understands he's going to get hit by the galleys. He shifts all of his fishing ships to the front. He's going to drop a dock there and keep the fish safe. That is so good. He's got perfect balance with all of his resources. Switched to berries, added the farms, has the perfect ratio on the sheep. And even has a fire galley in the back to disrupt Repard on the water there too. There's just so much for Repard to look at right now. Just a clinic from Barles.
Yeah, I mean, the galleys... They require so much babysitting, as you're saying, and the fire galleys don't, and that just allows you to multitask so much better. I mean, next patch, it's going to be even easier. You just patrol the hulks in every direction all at once.
Yeah, how do you feel the hybrid and water maps are going to be with the new water patch for TTL? Because that's coming, and that's going to be in the middle of the season. Do you think that's going to be... I guess, one-dimensional? Or do you think it'll add a lot of variety?
I have an onomatopoeia answer for you.
Okay.
Clink, 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 clink.
So we have instead of the bells from all the ships that we've been annoyed by for years, it's going to be something else. Oh my god. Well, Repard, he did notice for a while there were no fishing ships in the back, so he looked around for them. I don't think he realizes where they are. There's now still a villager there from Barles, so you could build another forward dock. Castle Age is about to be in for Barles, and it's just... You feel for Repard right now, because, like, congratulations, you got promoted to Platinum League, and now you've been rewarded by being massacred by the very best in the world.
Yeah, it's rough, right? Because I think this is just an example that the skill gap between Gold and Platinum is so huge that even though these are all, top 40 to ish players in AoE 2, the difference between like the top 10 to 15 and then the top 30 to 40 is just, it's a very obvious gulf.
Yep. And also part of it too is Repard He has gone for high risk, high reward. I think the galleys from the back, very risky approach. Barles would need to make mistakes, and Barles has been forcing the mistakes instead. We do have a lot on stone, and Repard again is realizing he's behind and maybe planning on a castle. But I don't know how much the castle is going to change in the near future. He still only has 250 stone, which will take time.
I mean, is a castle drop even better than going for a fortified church and some siege? It feels like you're spending a lot of ill time on stone. Like, if you had maybe a better early castle unique unit like that, maybe, but it just doesn't feel like a castle and a couple composite bowmen is going to be quite as good as...
Well...
Or quite as hard to stop.
If you make one knight... I mean, this is bad. He's losing all of his fish. Barles has all of his fish. He's going to lose all of his navy. But if you make one knight... Oh, God, he's in a transport. Repard, get out! No! No! Villagers didn't take swimming lessons. But... Okay, well, he resigns. That we've all been there. You make it to Castle Age, and then you tap out. Yep. Oh, God. I mean, I think the logic there, though, you make one knight, it escorts your villagers across, and then maybe you can drop a castle on Barles' TCs, but you have no scouting. You have no easy way to get there. And Barles just multitasked the crap out of him there. That was so good from Barles.
Yeah, and what's, Barles is actually a slower player, guys, than Repard. Repard's quite fast. Barles is, somewhere in the average range for a pro AoE2 player, but it just goes to show that APM isn't literally everything, as how you are, like, where exactly you are looking and when is far more important than just being able to click as quickly as possible. Yeah.
I think if you're going to go galleys there, you obviously need to kill the fish as quickly as possible. I think I would maybe even like forward docks for that, because it's easier for you to get to the opponent's fish. Now, on the flip side of that, it's also easy for the early fire pressure to have success, so I can understand the logic, but yeah, Barles with the forward, it was calculated pressure. Yet again, 2 quick wins for him. Still does remain very important for Repard. I mean, you go 0-6, very unlikely that you're going to make playoffs. Could be unlikely that you survive. You snag a win here, and then maybe you start to pull some results together in the final 3 rounds, and something's doable. So we'll see. All right, well, here we are, game 3. There was a restart because of gold, so just quick double glance from me. It looks to me like all the golds have generated, so everything should be fine. Hope the viewers have been enjoying this series. We've got a big one coming up. MBL versus Leary is the third game, or third set today. That one, 2 superstars against each other here. This one is Repard, the underdog, trying to get the win. He's gone for the Khmer. He's got a great map for a scout rush, but the gold is kind of forward there. And for Repard, he'll want aggression, and he will not want Barles to be able to wall here.
Definitely not, but having that gold in the back, it's just so much easier. Like, if you were to make a triangle between the forge bushes, natural wood lines, and the main gold, it is a much smaller triangle that you'd have to make on this generation compared to the last. So that's going to be nice here for Barles, and especially Vietnamese. It's not like they're a slow civ. Like, they're still fantastic in the early game, but they're not as fast as Khmer, so you probably want to play at least a little bit more defensive in the super early game.
Yep, no doubt about it. I mean, we want all the maps to be 50-50. I'll just be real, though. I mean, this map's a little bit better for Barles. It is what it is. The berries and the gold being on the back and having some safe wood lines is very nice. So if I were Barles, I'm the favorite here. You know your opponent's going to bring some pressure. I would play to my map. I would play towards walls. I would play towards spearmen, because the Khmer sometimes skip their barracks and won't have their own spears. And then once you're walled up, you just kind of adapt from there.
Yeah, and I think that it's still critical. I mean, the game mode is called Random Map. I mean, it's just sort of what makes Age of Empires what it is. And I was actually looking at some of my very old casts from 2018 the other day, and it's like, back then people really adjusted their strategy based off of their map generation because there was so much more variance in what you got. And I feel like, although maps are much more consistent now, as they need to be, as we have big prize pool tournaments, you still should probably try and play to your map a little bit.
Agreed. I'm of the opinion, and I'm not sure if viewers will agree, I'm of the opinion that we as a community have become very spoiled with maps, to the point where now it's like, it used to be in tournament maps, everyone had kind of a bad map. It's like, yeah, this is why you play Arabia, because the maps are bad, the hills are large, it's a hard game to play, and that's why you'd see lots of chaos, and you'd see longer feudal ages. These days, it's like, well, that hill is slightly closer to that guy's base. GG. That's how people see the game. So I'm with you. What we've tried to do with the 15 map pool is have those maps which are just designed to be bad and chaotic and open, and then have the ones which are a bit more towards the middle. But yeah, no, here's certainly Repard's going to have to be keeping that gold in the back of his mind. But at the same time, luckily he doesn't need gold for his civs opening.
Well, how can you keep the gold in the back of your mind when it's at the front of your base? You have to keep it at the front of your mind, T90.
Oh my god, dude. Okay. All right, Ornlu, thank you for that. Repard trying to push in another deer. I was too busy rambling. I think he pushed in one already, so he's going to get the second, which is rather difficult to find. And the early barracks is up for Barles. So he'll go to militia, which was not what I expected him to do. But he and Winchester, both really good at this. A couple other players might come to mind. And the plan is just a little bit of early pressure on the opponent.
Yeah, it's interesting that we, like maybe 8 months to a year ago, everything was just fast feudal age skirmishers or scouts. Now we really do see that Drush and Men-at-Arm Rush start to creep back into the meta a little bit, just to really try and hit your opponent and punish them if they get too greedy and try and go up too fast with their build.
That hurts there for Repard, that he wasn't consistently pushing in the Ibex, and the Ibex goes back. Once it starts to go back, it doesn't reset until it goes back where it belongs, so he has to give up on it. But this is also what we wanted to see from the map, right? Like, part of why the drushing is viable here is because Gasp, we might actually see like a Dark Age farm. We might actually see something other than pushing in 4 deer into super fast scouts or archers, right? It's hard to get that extra food income on this map. And here come the militia. Repard could hop in the houses, but he's not going to get the wall off. He's not on the berries. He's chosen to go up without a mill, which only the Khmer could do here. And yeah, here comes the pressure.
Man, that's why he needs a settlement, man. It would have been so much easier if he was like a Tupi. You could just garrison inside the settlement, and it would be so much safer.
Yeah, the settlements, having played with them already, I like them I like them in theory. But in practice, I end up having my entire base just covered in random settlements. Because you need them for farms, you need them for wood, you need them for gold. And they're so big that I find it just...
Have you had villager pathing issues with them?
Yes.
I always feel like my bills are just like derping around constantly because they can't path around the bigger settlement.
Yeah, it's really complicated. Look at this for Repard. I don't think this was his plan, Ornlu. He wanted the wall, and then he wanted the berries freely, and then he wanted to farm. But now he needs food. And now he's going to the middle, so he will mill the middle. He's on gold, so he will go archers, which feels like a nice play against the build from Barles. Barles doesn't have a scout there. I feel like Barles could still be expecting scouts from his opponent. Very curious to see what he ends up doing. Repard's been patient enough. He'll weaken that scout. Barles can't realistically leave his militia right now because he's still not in feudal with the speed. And yeah, Repard really wants the kill there. I would like to see Repard try and get his first archer forward, but he disagrees. And now Barles will know what he's up against here.
But the reason I like your suggestion of us going forward with the archer is that one of the benefits, guys, of going for a drush like this is that you just have more villagers faster. One of the original reasons you went for a drush is it was actually better for your early eco than trying to go for feudal age, and even with getting like a faster double bit axe, you can see in the resources collected, it is just better here for Barles. So you need to kind of make something happen to justify this faster feudal age time.
Yeah, agreed. I think Barles will see that, and he's like, oh, nice. The archers are here. I now know what his opening is. Also, with his scouting, he could think about it and say, oh, well, the gold's rather far forward, so now we know we can pressure there. Also, you can see the dead hares in the fog of war, so he'll know that those villagers are all exposed, and Barles might actually be able to save his scout here. Repard needs to be locked in. Losing this scout would be horrible. Barles also saved his scout in the other game on like 2 HP, and Repard is better than that. He should notice that. He's desperate for the kill, and okay, he runs right on by.
Well, he saved the scout, but you still have the scout alive here for Barles, so he can actually still do its job of being a scout, and that is still quite relevant on a map like this where your opponent will very often have villagers that are far flung away from the TC.
Yep.
So he could potentially find a way to maybe get some extra damage done there. Also, it's just good to have a scout alive.
Repard's got the food income in the middle. Probably still will need the farms at home, which he's doing. He's got one of his archers at home. He's got the other 3 archers moving forward. That scout taking some damage from the spear is a pretty big deal because it can't disrupt the wall now. He does have the archers still running around. He might have a time window here. He sacrifices the scout. Barles will know if he's attacking like that he's going to want in. And Barles is going to wall this up. Should be okay there.
Come on, T-Dotty. Was he really sacrificing the scout, or did it just happen to run by the villager and get killed?
No, you give him some credit. I think he's sacrificing there. I could be wrong, though. I will say that he still could get through because he will have fletching in, and it's still just 1 archer here for Barles. But Barles will probably drop a market or something. Yeah, just anything to... Oh, okay. I thought he lost the market for a second. He builds it further back with the house. Barles... We've seen him in this situation before. He's probably fine.
Yeah, it is a little bit scary, but the weaker villager is coming back home. He's sending a full HP vill out. He has some reinforcements coming in. We are also going to have the +1 defense in here for the archers of Repard, which is nice. He's also got a stable coming in, and that's one way to effectively utilize that extra food income. And, I mean, Barles is going to still have to make this defense happen. He's not going into many skirmishers. He just has the first one coming in right now.
I think you add the stable because you're expecting your opponent to go skirmishers here. And so if you see your opponent is not going skirms, maybe you just want to not produce out of that. He obviously disagrees. He's got scouts in queue, and he gets housed for the time being. But, yeah, Repard, again, 0-5 so far this season. Won some damage. He's up against a fully walled opponent. His gold is very far forward. I think the second Barles can counterattack him, he's going to have some very big problems. So one mistake for him, and it could be over. He's got to be careful right now.
Yeah, when you are out on the middle of the map like this, and you are so open here as Repard, the #1 most important thing you need to do is keep track of your opponent's army.
Yep.
Because if you can do that, the fact that you're so open and have villagers so far away won't be as big of a deal, because at least you can react to it. You still have all the map control here, so you can feel at least a little bit safer there. But that said, right now, Barles is just defending, walling, and looking to get a nice castle age time. Vietnamese wheelbarrow is something I always like to see players pick up whenever they can. It just comes in so fast, so Barles is doing just fine.
He's bringing villagers. He's bringing a scout or 2. He might want a tower here. Question for you, though, just because who knows how much more time we'll end up having here. They made a change at one point with DE where if you had previously scouted an opponent's gold or stone... Sorry, let me back up. So when DE was first released, if you knew someone's golden stone was there and you looked at it at any point in the fog of war, you could tell if it was being taken, which I really hated. Because you need to scout to get that information, in my opinion. So they reverted that, so now you would need to double check it. Now you can still see the hares and the deer in the fog of war. What if they made that change where you couldn't see if someone was on that? I would really be in favor of that.
I would as well, and I thought they did make that change. Or did they only make it for deer? Because I thought you couldn't see deer die in the fog of war anymore.
I'm pretty sure you can still see deer die.
Oh.
Maybe I'm wrong.
This is what happens when you ban Arabia for like a year.
Barles is looking for the vills. Repard is left the middle, though. He's built the tower on the gold. But that means he can't tower on the front, which I think was his initial plan. And Barles is on the way to Castle Age. And Barles is pretty well protected. He will see the tower now. But Barles... Did he sell his stone here? Wow, he actually sold all of his stone, and he's going to be on the way up. 2 archer ranges for him, and seemingly planning around crossbowmen right now.
Yeah, and of course that's going to be perfectly fine. Good timing advantage with a fantastic eco as Vietnamese, and I mean, this just goes to show how freaking good the Vietnamese eco is. You have all your eco upgrades, you're up to Castle Age faster, and you don't even have the middle. So in theory, Repard should have a better eco with all that extra hunt, but it just does not matter because the eco has been so safe and consistent here for Barles. And now what's going to be so tough for Repard is that he needs to play defense against his opponent's timing advantage, and he is just not very well set up to defend whatsoever.
Well, the positive for him is if he protects that gold in the front, he's got all of his wood in the back, and he's got, in theory, a lot of space to boom back there. But yeah, Considering the scoreline and what we know about these two players, it's been an uncomfortable game that Barles has all set up with the Drush. These two militia that are about to die now changed this game. He would have never gone to the middle. He would have never played into archers if it wasn't for that Drush. He had to deviate his plan. So well played to Barles there, and Barles is going to be up 90-second advantage to Castle Age. That could be more eco upgrades. That could be big army numbers. It's only 10 archers on the map. But with crossbowman timing, the skirms could struggle for Repard, and he'll have to wait for elite skirmisher here.
Oh, but he could be getting at least a few of these units out of position. That would be a nice little bit of a win for Repard. And you
That's
know, you
nice.
take what you can get at this point, and destroying, 30% of your opponent's archer numbers, not something you're going to complain about. We have the classic Bod Crow Saw combo in here for Barles, though. He's going to... oh, actually, no, he sold the stone. So it's actually just going to be for the university for now.
He does buy the stone back, so now he can build the second town center. That's the only weakness for the map for Barles right now, is just the wood lines. All of his wood lines are rangeable. That is not really the case for Repard because he's got the wood in the back. The other thing is all of his stones are outside of his walls. So there's positives to the start for Barles, but Vietnamese without stone can kind of struggle. Rats and archers are important. Just defensive castles in general are good with any civ. So let's see if Repard can hold on. He's getting armor for the skirms. He doesn't have elite skirm in queue yet. That he's going to need to click here.
He can't afford it. He doesn't have the wood for it. Remember, guys, it's a wood costing upgrade, not a food costing upgrade. And that is going to be on its way now. And we're in a situation that I feel like we see a lot these days in the current metagame, where you have one player who's slower up to Castle Age, they're on the back foot, they're defending, and they're making skirmishers. And I feel like this is a combination of situations that would never give you a win. Because what can these skirmishers really do to, go for a counterattack? Barles is just adding in so much eco, and I feel like you're really limiting the ways in which you can actually do any counterattack damage.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. You'd want that siege to quickly turn around and be offensive for you. So maybe we'll see... you just want to make siege to be offensive with those skirms, and then you hope that the player in Red's position here doesn't have the food eco to add anything else, which currently would be the case. He's gone 3 TCs. He can't go for knights, but he is going to make a couple fire lancers, which are still very strong and more HP with the Vietnamese, and they don't cost food.
They do not. They are the only infantry to not cost food, so it's much easier to afford in this mid-game eco where food is such a valuable resource. And with Vietnamese, having that extra HP is just so freaking good. Now, remember, guys, Fire Lancers are getting heavily nerfed in the next patch, or at least they're getting triple nerfed, so that's at least something. But for the time being, still going to be one of the best units for one of the best civs.
Yeah, I think... All you want right now is to protect from the forward siege push. And if you protect from a forward siege push, you're happy because you're sitting on 3 town centers. He did actually locate a stone on the left side. And Barles is fully aware of where those skirmishers are. And so his crossbows are going to come back forward. If he goes a bit more to the right side, he will find 3 villagers for the taking. But right now, there's no... That is very much random. You would never expect there to be anything there, which will work out for Repard.
That's what, if you remember back in the good old days of the Tower Rush meta, when you actually had players who just had random villagers all over the map because all of the wood lines were towered, and you'd actually just send units out to, every single gold node or stone node just to see where their opponent was. We were gone from those days.
And no bodkin for Repard, just noticing that. He kind of had to choose between armor and bodkin. Armor's great against the crossbows, but bodkin would be good against... the villagers and the wood lines and such, and even the fire lancers that could come out. Okay, there's a mining camp spotted, so Barles is like, why is there a mining camp here? But Repard has run with the vills. He should be able to save them, but clock's ticking economically. 10 villager lead for Barles. He's cooking up with incredible eco upgrades, and the fire lancers are about to be spammed at these skirms.
And just to make me cry a little bit on the inside, we're going Khmer Cav Archers, a unit that has absolutely no longevity in this matchup. It's not a great Khmer unit in general, and it isn't really likely going to get you very far against a civ that has a great answer to it, and also better Cav Archers.
We've never seen... If this was your first time seeing Repard Civ, you would be thinking, why on earth do you ever pick it? Right? Because we have yet to see a moment in this game where the bonuses have clicked or made sense. And
Yeah.
again, it's all the setup play from Barles, just like in the Japanese Armenians game. Like Armenians are insane on water, but because Barles opened like he did, Repard could never get going. There was just a class difference here. And it is just one of those players who had such a great performance in gold. Maybe he played his best Age of Empires 2 ever to get to platinum. And now maybe he's a little bit below the level he had in gold. Who knows? But I mean, there's just a level difference right now. And yeah, Cav Archers, I mean, you have ranged unit upgrades already, so you can get value from this unit right now, but it cannot be your end-all be-all. You have to eventually make a switch out of them.
I mean, I say that, and I've seen people just go Teuton crossbowmen for an entire game, and by some people, I mean Hera. So,
yeah, you can make
I mean...
you can make inferior units. You can make worse strategic decisions and still win games.
Oh, yes.
We see it all the time.
That is where the real-time aspect comes in, and just having the micro and the macro and the ability to balance your eco effectively is absolutely paramount. That said, it's a much tougher situation to make work if you don't have a mechanical edge over your opponent, which Repard, unfortunately for him, doesn't have here.
And economic, right? Like, he needs an economy lead, which he hasn't had. Barles is luring him away with that one Fire Lancer there, because he knows the skirms could potentially deny that castle. That is a perfect castle. Castle will go up, protect all of that economy, even find the Siege Workshop. And yet, Rats and Archer is the perfect unit against the Cav Archer choice. And you can make it out of the castle. It's a... I don't know if it's fair to say an anti-Archer Archer. I'm not sure what you would call it, but it's pretty much that. It's a very high...
Archer, I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah, it's a pretty high Pierce Armor Archer unit, which should be amazing. And Imp is on the way for Barles.
It sure is, and Vietnamese, I mean, on top of all of their other strengths, with that free conscription and inherently cheap ranged unit army over Fire Lancers, they're just one of the best early Imp civs. So not only is Barles going to be hitting Imp with a better eco, he's got a civ that can really leverage it. That said, he's not really making anything right now, so I'm kind of curious as to what you think is how Barles is going to approach this.
I saw another range, so I think he's just going to play skirms, which is also really fine. But he's pretty much just going full eco right now. Maybe he's still trying to get a feel for what his opponent is actually committing to. But I think he's got plenty of time here. He will lose the villagers on the right. That area is still an eyesore for him. But he does have some Fire Lancers running around Repard's base. So he'll disrupt him a little bit there at the same time. I think Barles is completely fine losing a villager or two when he's already on the way to Imp. Already getting some relics. And we'll have Imperial Age Skirm, but who knows? It's our job to sit here and look at the possibilities for Repard right now, which I guess the positive would be the army count. He does have a lot of military.
He does have a lot of military. The issue is that it's all, a variety of ranged units, and the defense of Barles is way too well set up. Like you were saying, that castle is in a perfect spot. He just has a ton of buildings in the way on the other side. This castle is also very well placed. And Barles is really doing a great job of eliminating all of his potential loss conditions. And now, of course, we are seeing the almighty Skirmisher, because why would you ever want to make anything else? And Fire Lancers, because maybe that's the only other unit that you could ever justify over a Skirmisher.
I can't wait for the Fire Lancer nerf. It is a crazy comp. The fact that you could build as many Fire Lancers and Skirmishers as you can, at least currently, is crazy. I know Koreans have the cheaper one, but I've seen people get to 90 military early Imp. Normally, to get to 90 military maxed out, you need to have been sitting at 130, 140 vills for a while, get all your upgrades, then you lose a bunch of vills, then you're up to 90, 100 fully upgraded military. But with Fire Lancer and Skirmisher, you can get there very quickly. And if you back that up with some Trebs as well, there's going to be very little time for Repard to mix it up. And what the Khmer do is they make Scorpions, they make Cav, and Elephants. So... we'll see, but that takes a lot of time, a lot of resources. He's down by about 25 vills.
Well, Khmer do 3 things well. Elephants, Scorpions, and the unit that is an Elephant Scorpion.
and economically, their farms are just super efficient, which unfortunately hasn't been an aspect of the game that has played out well for him, because he didn't farm early and he was on the hunt and he's been under pressure the whole time. His base is wide open. He'll be dropping his first castle now. He's being pushed by the Fire Lancers that still aren't fully upgraded, skirms that still aren't fully upgraded. He is getting a tiny raid, I guess, with the Cav Archers, but those Cav Archers will be killed off easily. And Barles sees his target now with his trap, so he's going to wait it out a little bit.
I mean, I think the whole thing with the Fire Lancers, and maybe you disagree with this, but I think part of their issue is that specifically Vietnamese and Koreans were two civs that were designed and balanced around not having Fire Lancers for a very long time. And they were already very good. And then they got Fire Lancers on top of it. And now they are, I think, the biggest perpetrators of the, oh my goodness, Fire Lancers everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
And I actually don't think they're as bad for the newer civs.
No, Chinese as well. Chinese as well are insane. Like, I agree.
Yes.
They fit a niche in the tech tree for every other civ, but Chinese, Vietnamese, and Koreans receiving it was a massive boost, at least with how they are presently. Maybe after the nerfs, it's fine. I think the other thing is some of the units they add, you can produce them instantly for and without having to get an upgrade. So it used to be a strategic decision of, do I want to get pikemen and then mass the units? Now it's like, why would I ever do that when I can make a unit that doesn't cost food so I can still boom and it's like instantly available. So anything being available instant, also having a built-in ranged attack that is instant with no strategic decision making on like getting to it. Yeah, it's obviously the unit's going to be very, very strong. So we'll see what the nerfs do. They weren't
very good when they were launched, right? Remember, like, right before the Three Kingdoms DLC came out and they added those to the game, they actually got buffed several times. So at the very least, in theory, once they get nerfed again, which again, guys, they're going to be nerfed in a couple days, hopefully they'll be a bit better. I
also wonder, though, like, is it possible they were still fine before and nobody played with them because they're new, right? Because, like, high-level AoE is a lot of repetition and a lot of... Remember Step Lancer? Everyone used to think the Step Lancers were horrible. And then Tata does it in the Red Bull finals. And then everyone's making Step Lancers afterwards. So sometimes units are actually good. And just pro players take a little bit of time to catch on. But well played.
They don't like trying new things.
Well played, Repard. He's mixing in.
Organizers have to force them to try new things.
Yeah, right. He's got the hand cannons. So the hand cannons can be good. In theory, you can go skirm hand cannon. Maybe push this back. But Barles was patient. He's waited for 3 trebuchets. He was going to go with 1 before, but he waited. And this is what I like to see. I think he has misclicked the town center, though. I think he wanted to click the castle. But taking down the town center is not bad either. And he's just going to mow this army down and force it back. Allow his trebuchets to take the base from Repard. And the whole game, he has just been behind. Barles was patient. He boomed. And it's going to be 0-6 for newly promoted Repard. GG.
Ugh, that's rough. I really feel for Repard just because he did have such a great performance and he was so versatile. Like, I thought it would just be Repard going super aggressive. No, Repard did well Gold League last year, playing so many different styles of AoE too, but right now he just feels a little outclassed.
Yeah. Game 1, you know, it's not like he didn't come out with different strats. Game 1, he went out with this strategy, which is very specific. It obviously looks a little bad now because you think about the draft and you would say, why not play Bohemians? But he maybe felt like, well, Bohemians is playing late game and Barles is one of the best late game players. So let's try. Same deal here. I mean, he tried a Civ, which is high risk, high reward, but I just think the drush from Barles was perfect. Barles was able to go full wall, super easy full wall because I made it look easy because of the drush. And it wasn't a full scout game, which is what the Khmer want. He had to play archers. So, GG. Repard has to turn it around. So far, the theme of this season is promoted players have not been having a great time. I think the only one that has done and has gotten a win so far has been Lewis, if I'm not mistaken. Am I missing somebody?
Mihai.
Oh yeah, true. Mihai. Yeah, Mihai got 3 wins. Mihai crushed.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, true. All right. So yeah, Mihai and Lewis, all the other promoted players currently just not able to get the wins together. So, anyways, Ornlu, I did message you. I knew coming into today that this would be a shorter series, potentially. We were right on that, but I appreciate you joining nonetheless, and I'll definitely reach out in the future for more casts, man.